a WikiVidi Documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. You Were Never Really Here. You Were Never Really Here is a 2017 thriller film written and directed by Lynne Ramsay, based on the book of the same name by Jonathan Ames. The film stars Joaquin Phoenix, Ekaterina Samsonov, Alex Manette, John Doman, and Judith Roberts. An unfinished version of the film premiered at the 70th Cannes Film Festival in competition, where Lynne Ramsay won the Best Screenplay Award and Joaquin Phoenix won for Best Actor. It was released by Studio Canal in the UK on the 9th of March 2018, and will be given a limited release in Los Angeles and New York on April 6, 2018, by Amazon Studios, followed by a wide release on April 20th. Plot: Joe, a combat veteran and former FBI agent with post-traumatic stress disorder, is a hired gun who rescues trafficked girls. He cares for his elderly mother in his childhood home in New York City. Joe has graphic flashbacks to his childhood and past in the military and FBI. While returning home from a job, Joe is spotted by the son of Angel, the middleman between Joe and McCleary, his handler. Joe meets with McCleary and expresses his concerns about his safety potentially being compromised due to Angel's son being aware of his address. McCleary then informs Joe of his next job. A New York State Senator, Albert Votto, has offered a large sum of money to discreetly find and rescue his abducted daughter, Nina. Accepting the job, Joe stakes out a brothel for wealthy patrons, the address of which was received by Votto in an anonymous text message. He violently kills several security guards and patrons while recovering Nina. While waiting at a motel to return Nina to Votto, Joe sees local news reports that Votto has apparently committed suicide. Corrupt police officers then storm the motel room and take Nina. Joe overpowers an officer who is guarding him and escapes. Joe finds that McCleary, Angel, and Angel's son have all been killed in search of his home address. Sneaking into his family home, Joe discovers that two corrupt federal agents have murdered his mother and are waiting for him. He ambushes them, killing one and mortally wounding the other. The wounded killer reveals that the whole conspiracy was orchestrated by Governor Williams, and that Nina was his favorite. Distraught and suicidal, Joe gives his mother a water burial. He attempts to drown himself by loading his clothes with heavy stones, but a vision of Nina convinces him to save the girl. Joe attempts to piece together the conspiracy. He concludes that Votto sold Nina into prostitution to gain favor with Governor Williams and other elites, and later felt extreme guilt after receiving the anonymous text. Votto hired Joe since he knew that the police force was corrupt and under Williams' control. After following Williams back to his country house, Joe fights his way in only to discover that Williams' throat has been slit. Joe wanders the mansion, distressed and hallucinating, before finding Nina in the kitchen with a straight razor. They are relieved to see each other and leave the mansion. Later, Joe and Nina are in a diner, sitting silently. Joe collapses out of exhaustion and stress while having a violent suicidal fantasy. Nina wakes Joe, telling him, "It's a beautiful day." Joe agrees, and they leave together. Production. On the 11th of May 2016 it was reported that Lynne Ramsay would write and direct an adaptation of Jonathan Ames' novella You Were Never Really Here starring Joaquin Phoenix. The project will be shopped to Cannes buyers. Although it was initially reported that A24 had acquired the project, Amazon Studios bought US rights to You Were Never Really Here on the 13th of May 2016. Principal photography took place during August 2016 in and around New York City. On the 2nd of May 2017, it was confirmed that composer Jonny Greenwood would score the film. The film was still a work in progress when it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival on the 27th of May 2017. Reception. You Were Never Really Here received a 7-minute standing ovation at its Cannes Film Festival premiere on the 27th of May 2017. Critics lauded Ramsay's direction, Phoenix's performance, Greenwood's score and Joe Bini's editing. Phoenix won the festival's Best Actor award, and Lynne Ramsay won the Best Screenplay award. The film received an 87% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, based on 87 critics, with an average rating of 8.6. The website's critical consensus reads, "bracingly elevated by a typically committed lead performance from Joaquin Phoenix, You Were Never Really Here confirms writer-director Lynne Ramsay as one of modern cinema's most unique and uncompromising voices. It holds a score of 86 out of 100 on Metacritic, based on 13 critics, indicating universal acclaim. Guy Lodge, for Variety, said Ramsay may be the world's greatest working filmmaker, and called it astonishing. A stark, sinewy, slash-to-the-bone hitman thriller far more concerned with the man than the hit. Joseph Walsh, for The Skinny, gave the film a rating of 5 stars out of 5 and states, "You Were Never Really Here is a brutal, punishing watch. But every minute is a masterclass in filmmaking. It's like a 1-inch punch to the gut, winding you from the start and giving you no respite. This exquisite examination of suffering will leave you staggering from the cinema." Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?